Welcome to John Martin Talks, where we battle ignorance and apathy daily. The growing ignorance of just how special this experiment we call the United States of America is, and the apathy that we can't or won't do anything and everything to save her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our hidden location here, Fort John Martin Talks, where we are self-contained right here and bringing it right to your homes, hopefully to make your life a little bit more enjoyable as you quarantine yourself, so to speak. All right, we got a great show for you today. We're going to start out with Say It Ain't So, or No Joe. And if it ain't Joe, who? Maybe Como. That who? Bernie in for the long haul. Bernie says he ain't going nowhere soon. And the corona, if you're suffering from the corona syndrome, where I'm not talking about if you actually have the symptoms, you need to go to hospital, but or at least get checked out. But if you're looking for a little quick getaway, there are now corona vacation packages. Yes, you heard it here, and we'll tell you all about it. But we start out today with an article from National Review, and that is that they're wanting to draft Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, the current governor of the great state of New York, who's on TV every day now, it seems like, a couple hours a day, trying to match the president, I suppose. Not downplaying what's happening there, but in New York, it's very serious. But there's a draft movement now. There's actually websites put up to draft Andrew Cuomo for president. But I thought we already had a Democrat president on the way, Joe. Well, apparently not. Could a draft Cuomo movement be in the Democrats' future? National Review. Democrats are publicly talking about contingency options for their July convention in Milwaukee, assuming they even have one, in case the coronavirus persists in being a public health threat. But privately, some are also talking about needing a plan B if Joe Biden, their nominee, apparent, continues to flounder. So they're worried about Joe Biden continues to flounder. It's not, they act like it's something new. Joe Biden has been floundering for a while now. We got a quick little video we're going to play of some snippets of Joe Biden during the presidential debates. And you tell me that it's like a new phenomenon that Joe Biden is slipping. Check this out.
8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way.
8 more years. I think the president would love that. But it wasn't sleepy Joe Biden's only stumble, not by a long way.
My plan makes the limit of copay to be $1,000 because we further support the ability to buy into the Obamacare plan. The biopharma is now where things are going to go. It's no longer chemicals. It's about all these breakthroughs we have with dealing with the whole, immune system.
As the right words, struggles.
There you go. Courtesy there of Steve Hilton of Fox News. He's got a Sunday show. It's pretty cool. Check it out. So we want to give credit where credit is due. But maybe I was watching that video again there with you. Maybe we're being a bit harsh on Joe. Maybe he's just working on trying to, have a job afterwards, like telling nursery rhymes. Fee, fi, fo, fo, fum. Because that's what he sounded like, didn't he? I mean, I don't really attack Joe with any relish, man. I'm just pointing out the guy is, let me just put the bottom line on Joe as we move forward here. Joe has always been a lousy candidate for president. Nothing has changed except he's just worse now, and he's actually slipping a notch or two. I mean, the dude is 77 years old. Now, hey, he may be in great shape for swimming naked in front of his Secret Service people like he's been accused of. But Joe, man, is beginning to look like an episode of Naked and Afraid when he's in front of the cameras, and that is an image you don't want to see. Some Democrats are openly taking up New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, whose profile has soared during the crisis. He looks a little jaundiced in that photo. Maybe you need to get tested, Andrew. But he soared during the crisis. And as a Biden stand-in yesterday, a Draft Cuomo 2020 account on Twitter announced that times have changed and we need Governor Cuomo to be the nominee. Our next POTUS, they say, must be one with an ability to lead through the crisis. And hey, I get that. And I give Cuomo some credit. I think he's actually performed well. I can't say what he's actually doing in the state of New York, but based on what I'm hearing, he's actually doing a more than fair job. And I think he's articulating himself fairly well. So when you compare him to Biden, well, come on, man. Billy Bob here, my psychic sidekick, is more articulate than Biden, and he don't say a word here. He keeps me straight, by the way. If you're just tuning into our show for the first time, first of all, where you been? And secondly, welcome. You're in the right place. Unless you're looking for political correctness, that ain't happening. But if you're looking for the truth in a seriously entertaining way, you're where you need to be. But he has a Twitter handle. It's at BillyBobBass1, and mine is at John Martin Talks. But Cuomo is doing all right. Let me just ask you this. I said this a couple of days ago, but of course, if I say it, it bears repeating. Let me get real with yourself. Can you honestly say, you can hate Trump all you want, but can you honestly say that Biden is competent? Let me ask you this. If you're planning for prep at your house, if you're saying, okay, we need a plan for if we're going to be out of work for a couple months, if people get desperate. Liberals are calling me right and left wanting guns. I'm not an arms dealer, by the way, but I guess because I have a Trump sign in my front yard that makes me a gun aficionado or whatever. But so I just ask you, if you're prepping your house, I ask you snowflakes and Democrats, people who support Joe Biden right now, that want to see anybody but Trump, can you answer this question honestly? Chime in on whatever Facebook network you're listening on right now, and I'll respond to you as quickly as possible. But I want to hear from people. Would you actually put Joe Biden, if he were a member of your household, would you put him in charge of your preparation for your family, to safeguard your family? Or would you just say, hey, Gramps, we got this. Don't worry. You've done a good job. Time for you to take a break, and the next generation is going to handle it. Come on. Can anybody actually answer that in a serious way, that they would let Joe Biden prepare them, give them advice on all kind of stuff? So if you answer that truthfully, I think you'll be with me. You wouldn't put him in charge of your own house. So why would you put him in charge of the White House, for God's sakes? Charles Pierce, the politics blogger for Esquire magazine, wrote a piece headline with two words: Andrew Cuomo established himself as the leader this country needs now. He enthused that Cuomo's news conferences last Friday, essentially shutting down the economy of his state, was a master class in leveling with the public. Well, first of all, my heart goes out to people in New York. So, like I've been saying, I pray for your family. You pray for mine, and that includes people in New York. I love New York City, by the way. I lived up there for almost 4 years in the mid-'80s, and, it breaks my heart to see it being kind of a ghost town. So I tease about it some, but I believe me, I take it serious. But Cuomo's done pretty good. I wish he would limit his talks to about 15 to 20, maybe 30 minutes. Because after a while, he keeps going on and on. And if he gets wind of this, which he surely has by now, certainly if he watches JMT, he will, that people are thinking about him drafting him as president, man, his speeches might go on forever and a day. So be careful what you wish for. Democrats are increasingly worried that Joe Biden will have trouble being relevant and compelling in the long 4 months between now and when he is nominated in July. I got to take a sip on that one. In case you're wondering, I'm John Martin, not Dean Martin. So it's a type of diet soda, and I will advertise for you if you come my way. But I had to take a breath when I hear that they're worried about Joe Biden having trouble being relevant and compelling. When was the last time Joe Biden was that relevant and comparing? He's only relevant because you Democrats out there have, any port in a storm, you were drowning in your desperation to beat Donald Trump. You hate Bernie Sanders. And so Joe's bloated body floated by and you grabbed a hold of him. That's why I call him Bloated Joe. His candidacy was dead in the water before South Carolina, and nothing really changed other than you fools voted for him. That's the only, Joe ain't changed. If anything, he's getting progressively worse. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Lloyd Constantine, who was a senior policy advisor to New York Governor Eliot Spitzer from 2000 to 2008, puts it bluntly. And let me tell you, before I read this paragraph, listen to this. No one I have heard describes it better. And I don't read this with any, great excitement. But it is about as true as it gets. Listen to this. Biden is a melting ice cube. Those of us, this is from a Democrat now, those of us who have closely watched as time ravaged the once sharp or even brilliant minds of loved ones and colleagues recognize what is happening to the good soldier Joe. The man, it's honest. It's honest and it's kind. I just ask this question for you again. If you had a family member, if you had a father, a grandfather, whatever, you had a family member that was acting like Joe Biden has acted over the past year, wouldn't you try to get that? Forget the fact that he's running for president, or forget your Trump derangement syndrome if that's possible. Would you actually put this guy forward for anything? Wouldn't you try to, at the bare minimum, this is my question for you, at the bare minimum, if you had a family member acting the way Joe Biden has been acting, would you not at least get him evaluated? I mean, really? Are you telling me you wouldn't? Because I don't see how you can answer that. I don't see how you might argue what this gentleman said about Joe Biden, unless, of course, you got Trump derangement syndrome, when then all bets are off because you're just nuts. Indeed, Biden seemed to disappear when the virus began dominating the news cycle early in March. Tough situation for him, I would say that. Would be tough for anybody, let alone Biden. Biden's media presence abruptly shriveled, writes Kalev Leturo, a senior fellow at George Washington University Center for Cyber and Homeland Security. In contrast, daily mentions of Cuomo as of last Sunday accounted for 1.4% of online news coverage. So online news coverage, 1.4%, Cuomo is on there. But there's somebody who's like more than doubled him up. You want to guess who that is? 2.9% for President Trump. Gallup, and I covered this yesterday. If you want to see our podcast, the best way to do that is go directly to John Martin Talks Facebook page, like it and share it with others. We're now streaming once again on our YouTube site, John Martin Talks, so you can get the daily show there. You can see it on the Facebook networks you're doing right now, like Citizen for Trump. Good morning, howdy, how you been? Media Measures. Of course, America's Voice News, we're streaming live on there, and they rebroadcast our show on all their streaming channels at 1 o'clock every day, including Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV. Download the free app on Android or iPhone. And we're now universal because we're on Dish Network channel 219. So all those ways to check it out. But I talked about this yesterday. And you snowflakes, you better, I'm going to give you a moment to get out of the room, because this is going to melt you. And if I melt you, you deserve to be melted. Gallup poll right now, as of yesterday, rated the overall response by American people to the approval of Donald Trump's handling of the coronavirus at plus 60%. Plus 60%. His job approval, what he's doing as president, is at 49% and rising, the highest it's ever been in his presidency. And speaking of Joe Biden, he had to be corrected on this during one of his virtual town halls where he talked about President Donald Trump's handling is going negative, and the moderator had to correct him and said, no, in fact, Donald Trump's approval rating is the highest it's ever been. And Joe goes, I hope he will. He said the other day, I think it was on The View or one of those places, Biden literally said that if this virus continues, that people who have never died before are going to start dying. I mean, this guy is a gift that keeps on giving, man. But he could be president. Really? Really, this guy, and he could actually win the presidency. Anyone who gets the Democratic nomination has a puncher's chance at being president. Don't fool yourself out there. This guy could actually be the next president of the United States. He could. And I don't say that with any relative. I'm saying that to people who support Trump. You better not take any Democrat for granted. You better work as hard as you've ever worked. You got to campaign for Donald Trump like he's 2 votes behind, and the next 2 people you see are going to put him over the top. That's what needs to happen. But in an attempt to remain relevant, Biden trying to remain relevant, Biden's campaign team hastily built a TV studio in the basement of his Wilmington, Delaware home and began streaming daily appearances by him from this week. and the article says here, they have not gone well. What a shocker. I mean, you got a guy running for president that can't handle live streaming, that can't handle Skype, basically. And I hate to tell you, I understand a lot of grandpas. This is what I'm a rarity, I guess. I'm a grandpa that actually can handle some of this. But I'm not surprised that people pushing 80 can't handle the latest technology. I'm not criticizing them for that. Guess what your grandchildren are for? To show you how smart the smartphone really is. But do you want to elect the dude president who can't live stream? I mean, give me a break, man. Even teenage girls can live stream putting their makeup on or whatever. But it's a shocker, man. You know, but here's the thing. I'm always trying to help. If you're new to the show, you may not realize this, but we here at JMT are always trying to help. So I'm going to try to help Joe Biden and his group right now. Rather than worried about creating all this new content with Joe Biden, why don't you just go with what actually works? One of the videos that's gotten the most watch of any of Biden's videos is the Biden animation video. We played it before, but I never get tired of seeing it. Check it out.
And by the way, you know, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
He loves kids jumping on his lap. I mean, take him at his word. That's actually really Joe Biden's actual speech. That wasn't doctored at all. The animation, whoever created that deserves some kind of Emmy or whatever. I give them total credit for you. But that's what they ought to play. At least they'll get some laughs. I guarantee you they'll get more views than Joe Biden going, come on, hurry up, hurry up. I mean, wow. Really? Y'all, I understand why you want to look at Cuomo, but are you really talking about electing Joe Biden? Seriously? In his first outing on Monday, Biden looked as if he were lost somewhere on the set of Wayne's World. Some of you young folks might not know about that. Check out Wayne's World. It's Saturday Night Live. That's a good one. I have to give the writer credit. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go Biden on you. I'm going to plagiarize that one. I'm going to use that somewhere in the future. Biden looks like he's on the set of Wayne's World. I don't think I could add to that. Biden stumbled, slurred his words, misnamed. Keep in mind, this is a liberal writing this. Biden stumbled and slurred his words, misnamed one of the nation's governors, lost his train of thought, and had to desperately signal staff for help while he was on camera. If you had, and this is like not ancient past, it's like last couple of days ago. He was saying, hurry, hurry, hurry. And he told one, he was interviewed by MSNBC, and he couldn't even remember in the interview what he was talking about. And that old gal that worked for Bush, she was laughing and carrying on at the guy. It's sad. It's sad what they're doing, pushing this dude forward, man. In any other time, it would be considered elder abuse if you did that. If you actually, let's put it this way, and this came to thought. If you had like a family business and you used Grandpa Joe, he was your grandpa, and you used him to push TVs or something on that, people would call you out for elder abuse. But the Democratic Party is literally pushed this guy, Bloated Joe, to the top, man. It's sad and it's ridiculous. And if he actually became president, God help us. If there's ever been a time when you need it important who your vice president is, probably right now. I mean, they always talk about the vice president's importance, but it's never been more important if this dude actually becomes president. I got a solution for that, and we'll get into it in a minute. Liberal pundits aren't even trying to defend Biden's recent media performance. Alex Wagner, a former MSNBC anchor and current co-host of Showtime political magazine show The Circus, and I covered this piece, wrote a piece this week for the Atlantic magazine called Stay Alive, Joe Biden. We talked about this yesterday, actually. Democrats, this is what she said, Democrats need little from the front runner beyond corporeal presence. So he just needs to be alive. She discussed Biden's current status as if he barely existed. This is a liberal's quote. Biden has never really convinced, Biden, I want to get it right. Biden was never really convincing anyone on the stump. His political power at this point is an idea held collectively about how to defeat Trump. That's who you're running for president. His his corporeal presence. I love that. In other words, what she's saying in this is that he needs to be upright and have opposing thumbs. I mean, that's the only qualification for the Democratic nominee. Be able to walk upright, don't be a knuckle dragger, and have your thumbs. I think Ronald Reagan's sidekick, Bonzo, has more on the ball than Joe Biden. But I'm just saying, man, I make fun of Joe, but at the same time, it does sadden me. But hey, I'm not the one putting him out there. You guys are. You Democrats are. I'm just telling you like it is. Of course, the mathematics of how Governor Cuomo could become drafted to become the Democratic nominee are daunting. In other words, it's not likely. But if any time, it would be now, right? He has 0 delegates, talking about Cuomo, and no campaign, and can't be seen as being distracted by politics during a crisis. Well, the fact that he's got 0 delegates is basically the entire 2020 field could have said that, right? But he doesn't need to be distracted by a crisis. Governor Cuomo, I would ask, now this makes a little more sense about his press conference. Is he auditioning for president? Could be. Let me just tell you, they act like that he would be reluctant or whatever. This dude would jump at the chance to be nominated and be for president. He would be all in on day one. So, and I'm not necessarily knocking him for that. If you could get to the top of the ticket without having to spend a dime and go glad hand everybody and get all them selfies like Liawapa Warren did. Where is she, by the way, these days? I guess she's up there putting in crap in the Senate bill, which finally passed, I guess. But Emily Sotonoff of the Daily Wire says that if states continue to postpone or cancel upcoming primaries, a window of opportunity could be there for Cuomo. Cuomo will be able to fill a hole for needy Democrats. What are they going to do? Hold aside for 19 cents a day? You can save a needy Democrat who are concerned that neither of the two frontrunners, Bernie Sanders and Biden, are within striking distance to win a majority of delegates and the Democratic nomination outright. So let me ask you woke Democrats out there that were all about diversity. I guess the best thing Cuomo has, his hair ain't gray. It's probably dyed, though. But so are you going to be happy, all you wokesters out there, that all these dudes, you Bernie bros, you got people that grabbed a hold of Biden as a life raft, would you be happy if all of a sudden they ditched all the people for 2020 and this guy became the automatic nominee? I can tell you the media would be down with it. They're trying to blow it up that way right now. It made me wonder why they're celebrating Cuomo so much. I think there's more to this than just what this article is saying. There are people who really want to get rid of Joe Biden and put Cuomo up there. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what about Chris Cuomo, CNN, the Cuomo News Network, it would become, I guess. Joe Biden began his presidential campaign as the front runner last year when he was almost eclipsed by crushing losses. In other words, he was about dead in the water in Iowa and New Hampshire. I mean, no one had done worse, right? Only to be rescued by a landslide victory in South Carolina. He of all people, this is what they're concluding here, talking about Joe, he of all people knows that if we look at how the nomination battle has gone so far, nothing is really over until it's over. I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't assume Joe knows anything. I mean, I don't know that he knows any of that, man. And Cuomo, he's ready to go, man. He is ready to go. Well, I got a solution for all this. If you guys are seriously finally getting truly woke and realizing that Biden is, maybe a brick short of a full load or two, or you are anti-Bernie and you don't want him up there, and we're going to talk more about Bernie in just a moment, I got a solution for you that could take it all out, and I think it goes back to an old video of Donald J. Trump and whether or not he can handle a crisis and be a fighter. Let's look at it. Hey, there you go. There's your solution. You're afraid of Joe. You're afraid of Bernie. You're not too sure about Cuomo. Just go with the proven prize fighter, man. Go with the one that wins. Go with DJT. Drop your TDS, your Trump derangement syndrome. Take it from JMT. See, I guarantee you Biden couldn't have said what I just said right there off the cuff like I just did. Go with the one you know. Not Joe, but go with Donald John Trump, man, because he is ready to smack it down. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Bernie now, because, people tend to forget that Bernie hasn't conceded. He's still out there. He still mathematically has a shot, maybe a long shot, but a shot, and he ain't going nowhere according to this Politico piece. He's still in. Bernie could remain in the race through June. The Democratic primary calendar reshaped by the coronavirus offers some incentive for Sanders to continue on. See, that they've dragged this out. They postponed it. Different elections, all that kind of stuff. They're still debating. By the way, thank God they dropped from that bill the Senate bill, the idea of total mail-in voters. I'm telling you, we need to be vigilant on that, because we cannot allow that to happen. You people out there, and forget about Trump supporters. But I mean, I'm not. But if you love the Constitution, if you love the republic we call the United States of America, and you're willing to do anything and everything to save her like I'm battling for every day, you cannot allow direct mail-in voting, especially not internet voting. That would be the end of our republic. I cannot stress that enough. Since his staff announced last week, talking about Bernie, that he is reassessing his campaign, Bernie Sanders has not yet definitively said whether he's still running. Well, let me just tell you, bottom line, I'll tell you this on Bernie, and probably emphasize again. Bernie, when he talking about reassessing, he's reassessing his ability to raise money. And this is not unique to Bernie Sanders, and not unique to Democrats. All these political figures, when they will drop out of the races when they're running for president or any other race, when they can't keep raising money. Because as long as they can raise money, see, they always quit. Think about this. Look at, and I'm telling you, I'm right about this. When they drop out, check out their bank accounts. They got more money in their bank still than when they started. And that's crucial, because they can keep that money. Federal guidelines allow them to do it, and they can use it for all kind of shenanigans, so to speak. So Bernie is going to stay in as long as he can raise money. The minute he can't, he's gone. Trust me. Despite Joe Biden's nearly insurmountable delegate lead, the Sanders campaign said he plans to participate in the April debate, if there is one, if one happens. His team has held volunteer organization calls in the past week in New York and Pennsylvania, which are planning to hold their primaries perhaps as late as June. See, Bernie can do this. Bernie is the head of a movement. There's no debate about that. Now, the size of it is somewhat debatable, but there's no debate that this dude is the head of a movement. Is Joe Biden the head of a movement? He might need to be taking a movement, and may or may not to be able to control it, depends, I should say. But Bernie is definitely the head of a movement. The size is the only thing that's debatable. And his campaign, talking about Bernie, is also touting that he is ramping up staff in New York, which a senior aide said is a sign that he's still in. So Bernie's in. He said he's ready for debate. But Joe Biden has responded to that, and here it is. Can we play the Biden video where he responds? There we go. There's old Joe.
Bernie Sanders' campaign has said that he would debate if there was a debate in April. Do you think there should be another debate in April, and would you participate?
My focus is just dealing with this crisis right now. I haven't thought about any more debates. I think we've had enough debates. I think we should get on with this. But to speaking to foreign leaders. I haven't spoken with a foreign leader in the last probably 2 weeks.
That's good enough. I like how Biden said he don't need any debates, but what's really key in that is Biden said, I'm spending all my time focused on dealing with this crisis. Now, this is probably unfair because he can't. What is he doing to deal with the crisis? Really? I mean, come on, man. The only thing he can do is what the rest of us can do. Sequester ourselves at home and try to abide by the CDC guidelines. What else can Biden actually do? And I'm going to wipe my face right here because I thought about not touching my face. And I'll do my Biden defense. I'm here basically alone, me and Billy Bob. And I guess, when I think, I don't know about you, but when I think about not touching my face, I can't help but touch. I need one of them cones. Somebody told me on Facebook, and I appreciate it, man. I laugh at myself all the time. You either got to laugh or cry, and laughing's better. Joke don't seem to laugh at itself too much, I don't think. But put one of them cones like from the vet. There's a vet not far from me. Maybe I'll get one. So if you see me like tomorrow with a cone on, you'll know why. I'm trying to abide by CDC rules. But Biden is saying he's spending all of his time focused on this crisis. Like what? What is he actually doing? He can't visit his friends in the nursing home. They won't let him in. Said James Zogby, a Democratic National Committee member, back to Bernie here, who has spoken with Sanders in recent weeks and urged him to continue running. Go, Bernie, go. Bernie has every reason to stay in. He has a role to play in the policy, of course, but also continuing to be the glue that holds the progressive movement together. So he's the glue. Bernie is the glue that holds. Is that like the old horse glue? Is that what he is? Because he kind of looks like an old horse, don't he? An old war horse, I suppose. An old communist war horse. But here, I got an idea for you, Bernie, because like I say, I'm always trying to help. I can't help scratch myself. And, I don't care if, Jake Trapper told Biden, he coughed, Biden like coughed. And Jake Trapper said, you got to cough by the CDC, you got to cough into your elbow. Well, I can tell you for me, it's hard to cough in my elbow, so I sympathize with Biden. And he's older than me, man. My elbow don't want to go up there like that. So, if you see me, maybe I'm just aging. I'm aging gracefully, am I? Maybe I'm crazier than I think. Maybe I'm in denial. Who knows? Some of us are sicker than others, that's for sure. But I got a way to help the Bernieites, man. Here's what you need to do. Biden is failing. The Democrats are obviously looking for somebody else, Cuomo. Bernie, why don't you just drop out of the race and then have them draft you back into the race? I mean, there you go. It makes about as much sense as anything they're doing right now. So I will start it right now. We need a draft Bernie movement. Drop out Bernie. Reposition yourself as a potential draftee. Start holding, daily Corona conferences. I got to tell you, and I said this to a strong Bernie friend of mine. I do have some friends out there that are pretty liberal, and you know who you are. But if I had to choose, and this probably get me in trouble with some of my listeners, if the only two choices, take Donald Trump aside, if the only two choices for president were Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden, as much as I don't like his communist policies, I'd have to pick Bernie if that was my only two choices, because at least the man appears to be mentally together. You may not like what he's doing, and I don't either, but I'm not questioning his mental fitness whatsoever. His policy fitness, another deal. But Joe is clearly not ready. So draft Bernie movement, drop out, position yourself to be drafted by the Democratic Party. It's your only real shot, by the way. And he's going to drop out when the money drops. Jay Jacobs, chairman of the New York Democratic Party, because Bernie's under a lot of pressure to get out, said he is not meaning to push anybody out of the running. However, he said there's no logical reason to extend this because there is no viable path for anyone other than Joe Biden to get the nomination. Wow. If true, like the Democrats say, if true, think about this. I mean, somebody I kind of feel sorry for the most part, all the people that ran for the Democratic ticket on 2020. Can you imagine sitting back? And I know how this is because I've run for different offices. Some I've won, some I've not. And there are people who are serving in office that I scratch my head and go, my God, man, the people actually support it. I guess it's egotistical to say that, but they voted for that person. I mean, so you got to imagine, as I say, I'm sympathizing sympathetics. These 2020 people are sitting back, all the ones, the 20 some odd or 50 or however many run. There's not a one of them that can't be looking at it, Joe. But even the ones that have endorsed him, okay, you got to know they're looking back and going, I can't believe this dude is the nominee over me. So to me, the fact that that they're going to, that there's no other path for anyone other than Biden, which is probably true, it says a lot about how weak that 2020 field is, man. You got to be pulling your hair out if you're sitting there or growing a beard like Beethoven, Robert Francis O'Rourke. Biden cannot amass the delegates he needs to secure the Democratic nomination before June 2nd, which now includes so many rescheduled primaries that it's beginning to rival Super Tuesday in size. So Bernie's looking at this thing saying, we're getting ready to have, if everything goes as they're saying it's going to go, we'll see, that, we're going to have another like big Super Tuesday where I could turn this around and the Biden camp could go. Zogby said, I don't think it's over, talking about the election. Lord knows what happens this summer. The Biden campaign can implode. I don't know. I'm not wishing anything, but it's not over till it's over. I hate to inform you of this. Biden's campaign imploded before he ever started, man. There's a reason why Joe Biden, up till this year in South Carolina, in the 3 times he's run for president, basically 3.5, has never won a single primary or caucus, and he came in 4th in all the other ones up to South Carolina. There's a reason why, okay? And that reason is only getting worse. Joe Biden has always been a lousy candidate. He was still and is a lousy candidate, and now I'm telling you, the man is slipping a notch or two. But the progressives, man, see that what the problem is that people have, you wonder why, I call him Bloated Joe because he's floating. There is so much Trump derangement syndrome. We need a test for that. And maybe supporting Joe Biden is the ultimate test because they're so sick with Trump derangement syndrome, they can't smell how rotten Joe Biden is. They just can't, man. He smells like roses or something. But progressives, man, they always live in a fantasy. They always live in a fantasy world coming to an end. And I just thought about this the other day. How many progressives right now, like old Greta, young Greta, I put up a meme on my Facebook site. You'll see it. Maybe we'll put it up another day. But how many of the Green New Dealers, the ones that said we had 10, 12 years left to live, are in a total state of panic that we may actually die from corona before global warming? I mean, how disappointed could they possibly be? But let me give you the bottom line here. As I said at the top of this article, Bernie's going to cave. He's absolutely going to cave. He's just calculating the money. And that's not unique to him. They all do it. When he quits being able to raise money, he's gone. Just trust. The real question is not whether he's going to cave. It's you Bernie bros out there. What are you going to do when he does? Are you going to stay home? You going to try to get a third party candidate? Are you going to vote for Joe Biden? Really? Really? I mean, there's only one choice that makes sense, man. One choice out of all this that makes sense. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Get on board this. There you go. And there you go right there. And I got a belt buckle here. We're about to have these open on our website, which is still under construction or reconstruction. You'll see it very, very soon. Belt buckle, Second Amendment. That's Trump train. Get on board. We got all kind of swag that is about to come out. So a lot of you ask how you can help me. It's coming, baby. It's coming. All right, we're going to close out the show with this story here. And there's some good news out there for you. We've had so much bad news. Let's give you some good news. And this comes from the Seattle Times. Swiss hotel offers luxury quarantine package including $500 coronavirus test. As the coronavirus pandemic continues to surge around the world, the hospital industry has all but shut down. Airlines are cutting flights, not to mention cruise ships. Governments are telling citizens to stay home. So to secure the reservations in this unprecedented climate, some hotelers have gotten creative. I'm telling you what, you cannot squelch the entrepreneurial spirit of people. They're out there, thank God. And I don't know if I'll say this right, for Le Bourgeois, a high-end Swiss hospitality company That's part luxury hotel, part serviced apartments. That has meant launching the COVID-19 service, a customizable stay with add-ons such as in-room coronavirus testing, doctor visits, and 24/7 nurse care. A man needs a good nurse, and I got one. I'm married to one, so I'm in Fort Hawthorne where I'm at right now. I'm living the dream, baby. How about you? But this sounds better. At least what they're offering here in Switzerland, and there's some other places offering similar stuff. This sounds better than the Corona plan that the Democrats have come up with. I think I got a meme that shows the Democrats' coronavirus plan. Have we got that one? There you go. This coronavirus is trying to turn me into a Democrat. It's got me staying at home, not working, complaining about everything, and waiting on my stimulus check. I know that President Trump is not your president, but are you still going to cash the check? I'm betting on that. I posted that, and I heard from a few people after I did it. I think I touched a nerve with that particular one. The in-room treatments can be purchased a la carte, so you don't have to, it's not one size fits all. You can get what you pay for. Coronavirus testing is available for about $500. Twice daily nurse checks for about $1,800. Man, that's, you can get a nurse. Well, I guess Vegas is closed, but I know, at least I heard from a friend, you can get twice daily, at least dressed up in a nurse's costume, to come to your hotel for a lot less than $1,800. But, as I say, so much the sicker does. And the round-the-clock nurse care for $4,800. Don't let my wife hear that, because I got round-the-clock nurse care at $4,800. Man, don't tell her. Charlene, if you're listening, baby, I can't afford all that. I wonder, I'm thinking about this because I'm talking about this story. Will they hook me up? I mean, if I'm putting it out there, they ought to at least hook me up with at least a 2-day Corona package, don't you think? While the company can arrange medical coverage for guests, it's not encouraging those with COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus, to relocate to Switzerland. So they're not saying, hey, if you already got corona, stay home. Let me check my time. All right. It says, we advise them to stay where they are because that's advised by the government, Hubner said. They can stay in quarantine. They shouldn't leave anymore if they're tested positive. Do you New Yorkers hear that? You come into Florida? Now, I don't blame you. I'd be trying to get the heck out of there too. But please abide by Governor Ron DeSantis' request and quarantine yourself for 14 days if you come in here. Laborisco said not only is the hospitality company marketing coronavirus-related services and packages, there are multiple ones adding to it all the time. The entrepreneurial spirit is unbelievable. And so they got them in Australia, throughout Asia, doing this similar things. So my question is, will we survive this coronavirus? I don't know. I think so. But one thing's for sure, and I'm sure they offered even better there. We're going to have clean behinds. There ain't no doubt about it. But I got to close with this because there's a sour note. There's good news, but there's a sour note, and I got to play it for you. And I can't believe who's to blame, and you'll see. Although many accommodations are still bookable, Americans are advised not to be traveling. The White House has said Americans should avoid discretionary travel, and the State Department advises citizens to avoid all international travel until further notice. Trump, it's dadgummit, man. No, Donald Trump is keeping me from a luxury stay at a Switzerland hotel. Oh, man, I might be for Cuomo. Not. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the show today as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Please go directly to John Martin Talks Facebook page, like it and share it with others. We're about to have our swag store open up, more details to follow. As I've been saying the last few days, I'll pray for you, your family. You pray for mine. But above all else, like I say each and every day, from my heart, from my family to yours, have a blessed day.